Hey guys, it's Yorkie here with some Assetto Corsa gameplay. I haven't played it so long I can't even say the name of the game. Yeah, I thought I'd come back to it and give it a go, as I enjoy it for different reasons to Project Cars. And I've been enjoying the times that I have been playing it fairly recently, and this is one of those sessions where I thought it was good enough to show you guys. So, as you can see, we're in a multiplayer session. We're in a Ferrari 458 GT2 car. It's a GT2 car race. As you can see, it's got BMW M3s in there as well. Got the setup sorted prior to the race, but didn't actually bother setting a a qualifying lap time. So 14th out of 15, just waiting for those 5 lights. Wait to shift it up into first. There we go, shifting it off. Immediately gaining position as the guy next to me did not move off the line. It looks like there's a bit of contact there in front with a number of guys in front of me. Just about managing to avoid that, and then immediately into the braking zone of the first corner, locking up the front wheels ever so slightly, going a tiny bit deep, but not too much. A tiny bit of contact there between me and a 458, as it looks like we've got 3 BMWs going 3 abreast as we come down to a rouge. They all make contact and spun right in front of me, and unfortunately got caught up in that, but I'm now going to have to keep to the side of the track to make sure that I do not get hit by any of the other guys who come flying down past my right hand side, down into a rouge and out the top, and I am no sort of opportunity of taking advantage of any sort of slipstream from the guys in front. I've just basically lost all momentum because of the guys are getting caught up in the spin and the chaos that ensued in front of me. But it looks like there's a little bit more as we come through into this chicane now. It's this BMW, this Red Bull BMW here again. He's looking fairly slow, so I'm going to try and perform an undercut in this right-hander here, getting ever so very close to that right-hand rear corner of his car, just about avoiding managing to make contact there as he goes and runs deep into this long right-hander. Going to slip up the inside of him here. I'm on his right-hand side on the exit, but he comes across over to me, almost made his contact there. That was more my fault, turned in a little bit too early and squeezed him a little bit too tight, but we're trying to rejoin the track now, and I just basically got completely squeezed off by him, bumped into his car, into the barrier, and then spun around, just about managing to avoid any of the guys behind me. And I just about managed to get the car into neutral as well. Obviously, with the DFGT, I do not have a clutch pedal, so I have to use an auto clutch from the game. And if I basically end up coming to a standstill in a gear, the car will stall. But I managed to get it into neutral, which just saved me a tiny little bit of time of getting the car going as the rear end steps out ever so slightly through the transition from that right-hander to the left in those 2 sequence of corners. And it looks like we've got a couple of slow BMWs here, so we're going to see if we can take advantage of that as we come down towards this, well, down through the final sector of the circuit, down towards Blanchimont. So I've immediately gained 1 position, up into 9th, looking fairly threatening on this BMW, but he moves across to defend the inside line, so I'm going to go around the outside of him here in Blanchimont. Getting that move quite nicely pulled off, but he's gone off and run wide. Now he's right behind me, and I'm not 100% trusting of him, especially seeing him go onto the grass as he locks the wheel. So I'm going to move out of his way in the braking zone, take the apex of the corner, and just make sure that I retain the position without him bumping the rear end of my car. After the number of incidents that he had been involved in, I didn't feel like I could trust him to make that corner without making contact with me, so I made sure it was my job to get and stay well out of his way, so I can continue my race fairly cleanly. And as you can see, I'm in 8th position and I am 19.6 seconds behind first place. So yeah, all that contact, all those spins cost me a fair amount of time, but nonetheless, never give up. At the end of the video you shall see why. So please stick with me for this race, and I shall talk you through, guide you through my thought processes, what I am aiming to do, and a bit more about driving the car in this circuit, as it looks like we've got a fairly slow Ferrari. Going to look to the inside, but he goes to the inside there to try and get out of the way. Just about managed to see that coming and darted to his outside and slipping past him. However, that wasn't for position, that was I believe a back marker, so it's still in 8th. As the BMW is dipping his wheels onto the grass slightly as we come down to P1. Coming through, turning a little bit too early initially, so kind of had to double take on that, but still carrying a bit more speed through the exit of P1 than the BMW in front, so just going to sit behind him here through this right-hander and then the left, just seeing what kind of lines he's taking and seeing if I can spot an opportunity to try and make a passing manoeuvre. Usually be down here, especially as we got a slow Ferrari 458 in front of us as well. This could slow this guy up in front of me and could play to my advantage. So I'm picking up the slipstream. I had a better run through that right-handed kink there than he did, so moving to his inside for this little left-handed kink now, and then towards Blanchimont as well. And we've got the move done fairly early on, running off wide off to the AstroTurf, and I'm on the right-hand side of this 458 somewhere. He's there on my outside. There he goes, locking the wheels, just about managing to avoid making contact, looking to see where he's going to come out on the exit of the bus stop chicane. Somehow he didn't get slapped with a 5-second penalty. That's a little bit odd for this game. The penalty system is fairly harsh, but I'm going to slide past him before turn 1 and give him plenty of room just in case he does exactly that and locks the front wheels. And was a slight bump mid-corner, but that was probably him misjudging me and my apex speed, obviously being tighter to the apex, or the inside wall shall I say. Means that I would have had to take the corner a little bit slower if I wanted to maintain the racing line from mid-corner point through to the exit. And obviously him taking a wider, more open line, he could carry just that little bit more speed and probably just misjudged it slightly. But the effect of the bump wasn't too great. Didn't spin me or anything like that. If anything, it kind of helped me and slowed him down further. So we're up into 6th position now as we come through the 3rd lap, and we're now into the 2nd sector of this circuit, getting a fairly big lockup as we come down into the right-handed hairpin here. And as you can see, the gap has actually gone down from 19.6 seconds down to 16.7 seconds, sorry. Get my words all muddled up there. So immediately we've gone and taken the best part of 3 seconds there out of the leader, despite changing positions and gaining 2 places. So this is something that you need to keep an eye on when you're kind of in this situation within a race. Obviously you could be way down the field, like 7th or 8th, but if you're gaining on the leader, why not carry on, why not push? I was considering my options for this race, not necessarily to quit the race, but you know, try and set myself a goal as to where I can finish, especially as the guys in front of me are a fair bit ahead. I believe the guy in the next position there, you can see him up there just going through the bus stop chicane now, just about. So he's quite a way up the road, probably a good 8 seconds or so. He's locked the wheels ever so slightly, coming into the bus stop chicane and taking that fairly nicely. Obviously no ABS on this car, but it does have traction control, so I can drive the car without either of them, and I probably prefer it without the traction control, to be honest, because it does hinder you in places, but nonetheless it's still fairly fun, especially on the braking. So yeah, I'm now 7 seconds to 5th position behind me, looking down at the timing at the bottom there as we come through a rouge. We're now 14.5 seconds to the leader, so we've gone and taken another 2 seconds or so out of him on that lap. And that's just running through my mind, is basically the positions that I could possibly gain in this race. Obviously I've only got another 4.5 laps to go before the checkered flag, and trying to work out a strategy, how much time I need to be gaining each lap in order to close up on the leader and see if I can actually challenge for the lead. Looking at the splits between the drivers at the bottom of the screen there, obviously you got first. 2nd place is about just over half a second behind him, so those two are battling. 3rd place is 3 seconds behind the leader, so he's just 2.9 seconds behind 2nd place. 4th place is within a second of him, and then 5th place is another 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds down the road there. So the top 5 positions are all fairly close to each other, and they'll be battling. Obviously that's going to slow them down and play into my hands because I'm running clear air, so obviously I can go at the pace that I would like to go at rather than the pace of the people around me. because obviously you can't drive at your pace when you got cars in the way. You kind of have to wait for that and slow down and kind of make sure that you're not making contact with the drivers around you. So yeah, I can really push here and go full whack and see if I can catch up with the guys as they're all battling away. It looks like the BMW in front of me sorry, in front of me was locking up the wheels coming into the final two corners there, as I managed to take it fairly smoothly. And we are only 2 seconds now behind 5th place, and we are only 11 seconds behind the leader. So you can see the gains that I'm making over the last few laps. That lap there just did a 2:18.9, which is pretty good now considering the changes that had been made since the last video that I did on Assetto Corsa. I was doing 2:18s in the BMW Z4 GT3, but I changed the tyres and also the grip levels ever so slightly since they basically released the game. And obviously this being a GT2 car will perform better than the GT3s. However, even still, a 2:18 is a very good lap. Well, it's a high 2:18 mine, but then still very happy to get in there as we slide up into 5th position as the BMW in front of me, as you probably saw, was struggling to keep the car on the track a little bit, locking the wheel, went straight onto the chicane, and then I guess he probably tried to stay out of my way somewhat and ended up running wide as well. So slipped up into 5th position now, and again we can focus on the guys in front, see if we can close that gap down. There you can see 4th position just going into the right hander now, which is a corner that I really do quite enjoy, trying to hook up these sequence of corners. Car feeling fairly balanced, fairly stable. I'm not having to wrestle with the car too much. I've got the balance of the car pretty much just right. It's got good reactive steering. It'll react well to my steering inputs. It's fairly agile and nimble, yet it will hold its ground mid-corner. It won't understeer too much, or it will understeer in a manageable fashion. So there you can see the top 4. Probably just caught a quick glimpse of them. As you can see, they're all fairly close and braking fairly hard into the bus stop chicane. I lost the grip on the front tyres and locked both front wheels, but we still managed to make the apex and set a low 2:19.2. I'm now only 8 seconds behind 1st place, and I've got 2 to 3 laps to go. We're on lap 6 out of 8, so pushing fairly hard to see if we can close this gap and present ourselves with the opportunity for the win here. Initially I didn't really think that I would have any chance after the end of the 1st lap being 19 seconds down, but considering the pace that I've been running compared to the other guys, and them all running close together and battling, aiding my pursuit of closing the gaps down, I'm starting to think now that I could be potentially in with a chance if I can get past the next couple of cars fairly cleanly and also drive the circuit fairly cleanly and not make too many mistakes of locking up the front wheels, such as on that corner there. As you probably have guessed, there's no damage on this server. Obviously I would have picked up a fair bit of damage from the contacts and the spins that I had earlier, and obviously locking the wheels would have flat spotted the tyres as well. But that has not been happening so far in this race, as a fuel warning light comes on up at the top left hand side of the screen there. But I believe I do have plenty of fuel to carry me to the end of the race. Get another slight lock up there, drop down one too many gears, so I switch it back up into 3rd as I get back onto the throttle, riding the curb a little bit aggressively there on the inside of that right hander, but still getting an okay run, and slowly but surely we seem to be closing up to the back of the guys in front. there you can see the difference between this lap and last lap. Last lap they were just going through the bus stop chicane. Now I'm pretty much into the braking zone as they're going through it. So making massive gains as it looks like there's been a bit of contact here. As you can see, slow Ferrari to my left. So we're going to slip past him prior to the first corner as we come over the line to start our 7th of the 8 laps that we've got. Slipping up into 4th. He's coming back at me ever so slightly on the outside, and I've now got a Ferrari to contend with as well coming out of the pits, but obviously it's going to be a lap down. Managed to gain the position and hold it for 4th. Fortunately, the Ferrari in front of me has managed to get up to speed fairly quickly and is not going to trouble me too much through a Rouge and Radeon as long as he doesn't lift off the throttle. Looks like the Ferrari behind me has picked up a fairly good run as well, all in the slipstream of each other here in a 3-car train. Well, I'm going to move over to the right hand side and just block this inside line for the Ferrari in front of me, and then we're just going to take a slightly smoother line coming through. It looks like the top 3 drivers in front of us are all trying to trade positions and fight for the lead, and in doing so it looks like they're struggling to avoid tripping over each other. You can see a lot of smoke coming off the front wheels of a number of cars as they're locking the front tyres, and I'm sat here waiting patiently, just waiting for the opportune moment now to pounce and gain any positions. Obviously I know I'm a lot quicker than these guys considering I've closed up 19 seconds in the last 6 to 7 laps, and now it's just being patient, waiting for the perfect opportune moment to gain a position. As you can see, it looks like there was a tiny bit of contact there between the BMW and the Ferrari. I want to try and avoid getting caught up in any sort of contact as he goes rather wide in the entrance to that right-hander. It looks like the leader as well had a little bit of a moment on the exit getting onto the power, so slipping past one, trying to take that opportunity there in that right-handed kink. I know the Ferrari's got a fair bit more speed than the BMW down the straights. The BMW excels a little bit better in the corners, as it looks like the first 2 drivers came very close there to making contact with each other as the Ferrari runs wide off onto the grass. So that's now me up into P2. I'm exactly where I want to be coming into the start of the final lap, as all guys around me are locking up their wheels coming into the bus stop chicane. There's a bit of contact between the guys behind, and it now looks like we've got a slight undercut and a slight drag race run down here down towards the first turn as we start the final lap. I'm in a prime position to perform the undercut, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Brake exactly when I want to, brake a little bit more and slip underneath him, very close to making contact with the guy behind me as he closed up in the braking zone, but got that undercut nailed. Coming down towards Eau Rouge now, and it looks like we're just about ahead. We just got to make sure that we get a smooth run coming through these sequence of corners, carry the speed out of the top, try and keep the steering angle as shallow as possible, and that's exactly what we've got done. We've got a nice little buffer here to the Ferrari behind me. Obviously he's going to pick up the slipstream, but with the gap that I've produced in that sequence of corners, I doubt he's going to be able to mount an attack into the chicane, and we have gone and taken the lead on the final lap, something that would have been a fairly impossible task if it wasn't for the guys in the top 5 battling and trading positions throughout the race. Obviously I don't know what these guys' actual race paces are in terms of how fast they are in clear air. They could be anywhere between on pace with me. They could be 1.5 seconds a lap slower than me. I just don't know, but the fact that they were battling probably was the biggest player there in helping me close up. Obviously myself being in clear air and able to run at the pace that I was able to run as well obviously helped an awful lot in my pursuit for the win, and it's just a case of being smooth, keeping it clean through the lap, which is what I've managed to do so far. There's been no dramas whatsoever, and as you can see, you're building the gap already to the guys behind as well. Coming through Blanchimont for the last time and down towards the final chicane, nailing the braking point rather nicely, hooking up the apex, avoiding the large curb on the inside. Now you can hear the traction control really bogging the car down through the apex of that left-hander, and we go and take the win, with second place being 2 seconds behind, so a gain of 2 seconds on the last lap. But yes, as you can see, my surprise down in the chat down there in the bottom left. But never give up, guys. Although everything may be all gone and lost, never give up. Always push to the end. You'll never know what happens, and the impossible could be made possible. But thanks very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'm aiming to bring a little bit more Assetto Corsa back to the channel in the near future. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Please give the video a rating. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Shall hopefully see you soon, guys. Take care.